I'm Mr. Tom, and I like to paint silly things. Welcome to Acutely Believable Creatures. Hello friends and homies, it's Process Video Day. This week's theme was Happy Fun Time, and honestly I couldn't think of anything happier than a pig pal kick-flipping over a bale of hay. Is that weird? Yes, kind of. But it is 100% my kind of jam. And you know what? If this is your kind of jam, why not like, comment, and subscribe so the algorithm monsters don't come for me in my sleep? Plus my Reels game is getting stronger every week. Also, if you have any ideas for themes, let me know, because eventually I'm just going to start painting monsters and dinosaurs every week. I mean, more so than I already do. I also want to say thank you to anybody watching. I just hit a huge milestone, for me at least, on Instagram. I have 6,000 followers, and I'm almost at 400 here on YouTube. And I really, honestly, truly appreciate it. I know those aren't huge numbers to some people, but I'm really, really proud of them. So, thank you. Now, I transferred the sketch to watercolor paper off camera, which is actually just industry speak for I forgot to hit record on the camera while I was using the lightbox. I'm using top-notch Arches 140-pound cold press paper, which is my personal favorite and what I've used for every one of my videos so far. Now before I start painting, I like to set the scene and put everything out in arm's reach. I've got my favorite set of hard to pronounce watercolor paints, my mason jar, my cloth rag, some brushes, and a bit of scrap paper for testing mixes and tints. The gang's all here, including a special appearance by a tripod that I wound up not using. Now this whole paint scheme is pretty straightforward. It's pinkish on pink with some watered down reds and browns to make a recipe for a fine swan. Dropping in some darker shades and still wet watercolor paints is big brain stuff. When the colors dry, they make this really nice gradient and it makes things more visually appealing. Now see right here? That's what we call a mistake. And in watercolors, that's a dangerous spot to be in. And why it's always a good idea to have your tools in arm's reach. A tiny dib-dab here and a blot there with a paper towel and this painting is saved. If it was dry, and I tried to correct it, it's much harder and usually doesn't work out very well. All that's left to do is to paint the skateboard and the hay. For the board, I'm going to model it after an old deck that I had growing up. And the hay, I'm going to color based on the bales of hay we had back on the farm. Fun fact, I grew up on a hobby farm, which means I don't know how to actually farm, but I do know how to pamper animals. Now let's play the cleanup song, Get Ready to Ink. I like to tackle the most intricate part of the painting first, as demonstrated here. Perfect. Nailed it. Now the rest gets the usual treatment. Thickest lines go on the outside, thinner stuff in the middle, and try to maintain line weight where it's appropriate. Once the ink dries, we can break out the watercolors one last time, just to deepen those shadows with a little bit of watered down browns, and do any touch-up work. Before we call this one done, I just want to mention that if you like this painting, the original will be up in my shop and you can own your very own Kickflipping Pig. There's also a bunch of prints and some of my other originals up there too. Now for the most rewatched part of any of my videos, the detapening. One day I hope I can invest in some decent sound stuff and capture this most satisfying of noises. Until then, you're just going to have to use your brain imaginary sound generator and set it to bliss, and that should replicate the sound to a reasonable degree. And there we go, a pretty happy pig doing a pretty happy thing. Thanks for sticking around for this art adventure. If I had to change anything, I might do a 3/4 view on the hay bale just to add some depth, but I'm still pretty chuffed about this guy. So until next video or short, be safe, hugs and high fives.